Hey, it's Uppity Unicorn, and I want to talk to you a little bit about taking a text from my god sister. Just hang on a minute, like the video. This is about Nell raising jailbirds. And I say that as an African American who is very, very aware of the prison industrial complex. I made it my life's goal to save Black men from the time that I was 7 years old until I was about 33, when I had my wake up call and started deconstructing the mammy and the pick me in me. Okay. I'm literally hot and bothered because I'm not using my microphone and I had to turn off my damn fan in order to record this so that the sound is not too hard on you all. So keep that in mind as I proceed. Now, if you weren't such a male-identified pick-me, you may have raised sons who could manage to be Black and stay at a jail at the same time. And I say that as the sister of a brother who has never been to jail, who does not have a mugshot, who is a 6'3" or 4", 300-pound Black man with dreads. Never been to jail, doesn't have a mugshot. We as Black women have issues that can be found within Nell as a prototype. This is part of what I do on my channel with Love and Marriage Huntsville. And I'm upset. I'm sorry. This is not going to be the most compassionate read. This is not going to be the most gentle rendition of advice. I can't. I'm tired of it. You managed to make Mel the victimizer. You managed to make Mel at fault because she called the police on someone who committed a crime against her. The same man who laughed in your face and your husband's face and called you a side chick, threw your whole marriage and its origin in your face and said, yuck, yuck. This is who you're fighting for and defending. What is with Black women and this unrequited love for all Black men? You see your sons in every single Black man, but do you see your daughter in every Black woman? Because you're sure as hell hard on them. You sure as hell are not moved with the amount of empathy that you're moved for with Black men. Let me tell you something about all the Black men I have researched who have had false convictions, false confessions, who have had evidence planted on them, who were purely innocent, and not only innocent, but some of them were fucking autistic and had no way of committing the crimes they were accused of. The Black men who have been hung from trees, who we've lost, for whose sake my name is Uppity, for raping a white woman that never existed, for Tulsa, Oklahoma, and Oscarville, and every city in America that had a Black Wall Street that was burned down or drowned down because innocent Black men were taken and punished for crimes they did not commit. Nell, you are not the only negress with a heart for that, so cut it out. You are not the only negress who has seen innocent Black men, keyword innocent Black men, taken apart for nothing. You are not the only person who managed to cry for Tamir Rice, Philando Castile, Trayvon Martin, Amadou Diallo, Ahmaud Arbery, and the list goes the fuck on. I still see Elijah McClain's face in my mind. I can see his glasses, his shoulders, his neck, his haircut. How dare you invoke that kind of pain on a fucking criminal? On a fucking criminal. Martell isn't just a criminal. He has criminal psychology. His mind is damned. He cannot fix. He cannot. What do you mean? Well, I don't believe you should call the cops on your exit if the problem could be solved. It can't be solved. And you know Martell, so why would you say some dumb shit like that? You sat in front of Martell, small as hell. Well, I want you to know that I told Mel that I don't agree with it in putting our Black men in jail. But you gotta stop, Martell. And what did he say to you? He said, no, to your face, and then told you In his confessional, you can take your raggedy ass 60 plus birthday party on somewhere. Nell, this is who you're fighting for. And so many black women, damn it, this is who you're fighting for. You're fighting for Kevin Samuels, or you're fighting for niggas who don't even think you're worthy of marriage. You're fighting for people who you could be a 10 on a scale of 1 to fucking 5. You could be a 10 on that scale, and still he will take a white girl, a non-black girl, on her third black baby daddy with a receding hairline and missing teeth from smoking Newports over you. God damn! Tighten up. Tighten up. What is this mindset? What is this? Why do you find this within yourself and you don't find an issue with it? You're telling the victim to take accountability for the victimizer, and it's fucked up, Nell. You wonder why your sons are in and out of jail. That's partially your fault. I don't give a shit about them being grown adults who can make their own decisions. Damn it, we're all groomed as children with habits that we take into adulthood. Blaming everybody else for their shit. Racism exists in the same world of black men as it does in black women. And you know who else is overrepresented in the prison system? Nell. Women who look just like you. Nell. Women who are your age. Nell. We see 66 and 67-year-old black women coming out of jail all the time. I used to volunteer in a prison. You can't fuck with me on this subject. 98% of the women who were in the jail that I used to volunteer at were there because of some man. Some man, some raggedy dusty who said, you need to let me lead. And you're unfit to follow, and you're too masculine. You got to do what I say to prove your femininity and to prove your womanhood. And they're behind bars. And you know who visits them now? Nobody. Nobody visits women's prisons, Nell. And you know who's in there for stealing a wallet, for stealing from the mall? For being a drug addict? Black women in there for nonviolent crime, ain't barely did nothing to nobody. You sit there as a descendant of the people of the Caucasus Caves. You knock somebody out, you're in and out of jail the same day. You do that as a black girl, and you might got 25 to damn life. So you want to talk about unjust sentencing? It comes for us all. It comes for us all. Everybody black. So what is this worship of the black male penis we're talking about, Nell? Well, you know, I have sons. Were your sons not raised in the same house as your girls? Somehow your girls managed to stay out of jail and your boys didn't? Damn it, stealing somebody's credit card to buy tires like one of your kids did, that's a crime. Hitting a parked car, giving somebody else's name, that's a crime. I had a foster kid that I grew up with. Gave my name when she got caught doing a crime, and I didn't even know it until I was coming back from Yemen. I was a Muslim coming back from Yemen, detained in an airport for 6 hours because some girl I grew up with, who I called sister, gave my full fucking name to a police officer. And damn it, I don't so much as not wear a seatbelt now. I'm a square bear from Della damn where. Now, I still don't have a record, but I must have been visiting somebody in a prison and it came up. And I'm like, what do you mean? I don't commit crimes. I don't have a mugshot. I don't have a criminal record. They're like, oh, I'm reading the rest of it now. And you see on there, Catherine Cherie Bishop, blah, 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 and what the charge was, and using my name. I got my hijab snatched. I got my private parts felt on. I was dehydrated coming off a plane. They gave me water only to take the bottle and take my fingerprints and to have me go into the bathroom and piss with the stall door open. Because this girl did what your son did and gave a false name. Only she gave a false name of a real person. You see how that inconvenienced my life now? a non-criminal, I grew up in church, super duper conservative, only to convert to Islam and be more super duper conservative. I was in full abaya and hijab when 4 police officers in San Francisco, once I got off of an international flight, were waiting for me, Nell. Because if somebody false name dropped me like your son false name dropped when he hit somebody's car, it's illegal, Nell. You ain't the only person waving a flag for innocent Black men, but when they are guilty, Nell. But when they are guilty, Nell. It's to the point where in the Black community, the only discipline we have for Black men is the cops, because we don't discipline in our fatherless homes. We're not disciplining these men. We are coddling our boys and raising our daughters, and that's the real reason so many of our daughters stay out of prison. Because you best believe police are knocking us out too. You best believe police are taking us out too. Google how many Black little girls have been capped in the back of the head and their parents were made to sit in their brains during a house raid. You can say Rodney King, but can you say Breonna Taylor? Can you say Sandra Bland? It's not just them. It's not just Black men having this issue with an industrialized prison complex and with corporations dying to re-enslave us through the prison system. And giving us heavy sentences for petty crimes, crimes of poverty, crimes of lack, that could easily be solved by a fairer distribution system when it comes to American resources. Tupac said, we got money for wars, but can't feed the poor. Instead of war on poverty, they got a war on drugs so the police can bother me. More Pac. What in the world, Nell? Black women are the real victims of Black men. We're the most common victim. More than our children, more than other men, we are the most common victim. And we're the ones defending them the most. Through busted lips, broken ribs, and black eyes, we're defending them for the crimes they've committed. No. We can't do that. If you care anything about the Black man's divine masculinity, you have to let him receive a divine ass whipping. You got to let him go through the rites of passage, however they come to him. Let him get it how he lives. We are one of the number one barriers that keep Black men from manning up, because we're always coddling these niggas. You see how much more we protest for the death of a Black man than the death of a Black woman or Black child? We ought to be ashamed of ourselves. We ought to be ashamed of ourselves that our communities are so male identified. Your sons were not innocent. They're not fucking Martin Luther King. They're not prisoners of wars. They're not Malcolm X. They're not Black Panthers. They're not people who fought for our rights and are in jail for no reason. They're criminals. They're lawbreakers. They're not law-abiding citizens, bro. Same with Martell. He committed a felony against Mel. Revenge porn is a felony. Anyone convicted of it has to register as a sex offender. You don't do that to people. It's literally sexual assault. You tell a sexual assault victim, well, I don't agree about putting Black men in jail if y'all can solve the problem between y'all selves. No, what kind of bullshit is that? Well, I'm inviting Mel to my party and I'm not inviting you. He said, what do I care about going to some 60-plus birthday party? You got your ass disrespected after being gentle and forgiving and all the things you want Mel to be. I'm sorry if you're a glutton for punishment, but the rest of us are not. The rest of us are not, bro. That's not okay. The rest of us have standards. When Black women stop accepting such sorry behavior, then and only then are our men going to rise to the occasion. You wonder why white women raise men who take over. They don't settle for shit. They won't settle for shit. They will take a man for everything that he has, make him pay through his nose. If he hits her one time, if he threatens her one time, police on speed dial, they won't accept a damn. These men are forced to overperform. You want to talk about the birth of a colonizer? Because hear me out. These people act like devils. So many of these people, not all, so many of these people act like devils. But the way that they compete, hell, if you're looking at any other, I mean, some of these Indian men and how they come out doctors and engineers. Some of these Muslim men are 20 and 30 something years old and they're virgin because nobody will hump them. I lived in the Middle East. They're like, you're not getting none unless you marry me. And on top of that, you can't get none unless you provide a dowry and a mahar for me. And on top of that, you better be able to take care of me and bless my family. And there are so many rituals to getting coaching. You can't have none. You can't accidentally be a dad over here when you're a deadbeat. We have an epidemic of men who want the rights of kings and the responsibility of toddlers. And women like you, Nell, you nourish that. You create an environment conducive to that. You have these grown, beautiful men as sons. All your kids are beautiful, Nell. Your family's beautiful, Nell. But they come out their mouth like kids. They slouch at the table. They sit like they're in detention. No, that's you. Sit up when you're talking to me. Speak like an adult. Act like you got some sense. And you can yell and yell as much as you want to at your kids. We've seen you do it now. Because you yell one way and believe another. You yell one way and you believe another. These kids aren't do as I say. No kid is. That whole do as I say, not as I do. They know what your values are because they share them with you. Well, you know how I feel about black men going to jail because of my situation with my son. So you see your son in every black man, but do you see yourself in Nell? Do you see in Mel? Do you see your daughters in Mel? Because if it was your daughter with her ex-husband's dick in her mouth and her kids were old enough to see that shit on the internet, then what? And if she called the police on her ex-husband and said, hey, he's threatening me with this, would you tell her, your own daughter, well, I don't think you should call the police on your ex when there could be solved between the two of you? Would you? Because I don't think you would. I think you'd be pissed. I think you'd be ready to fight. I do. But you seem to hold more value over, I mean, it would be one thing if he was a black man like I mean, insert awesome black man. But you seeing your son in the lowest of the low? Martell ain't shit to defend. He's not shit to love. He's not shit to protect. He's nothing to fight for. There are some people worth fighting for, worth saving, worth diving in the water and swimming to get them out. Even though when you save a drowning victim, they could drown the person who's trying to save them. There are some people worth diving in the water for. Martell is not. By any account, he's not. But you want to jump off the deep end with Mel over Martell? Over I had you and my mistress pregnant at the same time, Martell? Over I stole $17,000 from you, Martell? Over I have siphoned tens of thousands, other tens of thousands that I didn't get caught via Skult and with Marceau to get matching BMWs with Ariane Martell? Mel was funding Ariane's lifestyle, Nell. And you want to charge her up? You want to post up about Martell? That Martell? The Martell who slandered her to everybody and made her look lazy to the point where Marlene came out of her drunk mouth. She gonna kill my boy. She ain't gonna kill your boy. Your boy is lying to you about how hard he's working. He's somewhere jerking with his mistress. Now, Mel is working, and now we see that. Now it's obvious to everybody who she gave she covered that man. She made him look like he was somebody he was not. Mr. I can't pass an open book test to get a damn builder's license. You want to jump off the deep end for an incompetent, derelict fool because he's black with a scrotum sack. Now that is pathetic. That is pathetic. I cry Malcolm X all day. I love me some Martin Luther King. Blah, 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 blah. I cry anytime I talk about Medgar Evers at length, but I'll be goddamned if I make niggas like R. Kelly and Martell tantamount people. I don't want to see another black man go to jail. But it's Diddy, bro. I don't want to see another black man go to jail. But it's R. Kelly. But it's Martell. But what the hell? You want it in your community, right? So you can be mad at all the fast tail little girls out here sleeping with these grown men, all the while they're being touched and molested by these same black men you want to protect. Why is she bitter? Why is she mean? She's probably protecting her vagina from assault. Damn it. Let's really get into why so many black women psychologically are not okay. You know, most of us have been beaten and molested right now. You know that. That's the majority of us, right? But ain't nobody saying shit about us. And when we do defend ourselves, stupid ass people get online. The pick-me's get online and like, oh, they hate men. They're male bashers. No, we're woman protectors. We have to change the culture. And men who respond to that tend to have better character. They tend to rise up. They tend to mount up on these issues. They tend to be more distinguished as black men. And we want that. We want that. We want to foster an environment conducive to true black male excellence. Because you know what y'all are calling excellence right now on the damn Love and Marriage Huntsville? I mean, it's a motley crew full of mugshots, bro. We could, that little song, all day, all night. We could run that same promo with nothing but mugshots and cover the entire cast and crew, except for maybe you and Mel. With mugshots. Forget everybody in their purple dresses and suits, just mugshots. Whole cast. Your cultural convictions are a handicap on black men now. And that is the real reason why black men in your life perform how they perform. Because I tell you true, I don't have any black men in my life like that. And if I'm related to any of them, I don't deal with them. I don't have a black man in my life that I'm sleeping with, that I'm friends with, that I'm anything with, that lives that kind of life. I won't allow it. The standard is too high. It's like a moat around a palace. You can't get in. It's like a drawbridge over, like, nope. I was going to say a drawbridge over troubled water. You can't get in. I have to let that shit down in order to let you cross my moat full of alligators. And I won't. Black men are knocking black women off the planet at alarming rates. Every fucking 5 hours, a black woman is murdered in America. In the good old US of A, in these United States, and 98% of the time, it is a black man she knows. It is a brother, a father, a lover, a cousin, a family friend. Knocked off the planet. I dare you to get on Instagram and follow Black Femicide and look at all the stories. Just some Delta minding her business, deciding, I'm finna graduate college and I don't want to deal with this guy anymore. I don't want to support his lifestyle. Boom, boom, boom in her head and in her chest, she's gone. Just some beautiful teenage cousin of some older cousin who got high together and then he chopped her up and threw her in the trash can. Cousins. First cousins. Story after story after story. Nell, do you know that black men kill more black women than police kill black men? Are you aware? We catch more black female bodies from black men than we catch black male bodies from police, or black bodies, period, from police. Are you aware of the statistics? I don't know what to tell you, Nell. You might want to get to a Pew report. You might want to get to blackdemographics.com. And aside from murder, do you know how many of these niggas are leaving us with as baby mamas? Got us looking like hoes and fools out here? What is it? 28% of black women or men are married? Got you looking crazy? Won't dignify you with a ring or a I do? Why do you think Letitia is able to sit there and say, nanny, nanny, boo, boo, I'm married? Because a lot of black women ain't. Got our kids out here looking like unloved bastards. Even though these men live in our houses and it'd be a 16, 17-year relationship and he just won't put a ring on you. And yet and still they date and marry outside of their race at almost 3 times the rate as black women. Praise each other for being with a non-black woman and call you a bed wench and a coon for being with a non-black man. What is this unrequited love? What is this generational loyalty that you don't get back? They leave your community and then come back to you and bring you biracial kids and ask you to braid their hair. You weren't good enough to have my baby, but I need you to raise it anyway. What are we talking about here? What is this allegiance to losers that you have? Over here, we stick with the black men who meet our standards. And we don't mind the rest of them. Because we know that we have cultivated, and it's our fault too. I'm not going to blame black men alone. It's our fault too. It's our perverted versions of Christianity where the woman has to forgive everything, but a man can be mad. Go to any pastor as a married couple and say, my husband cheated on me. And it's all about how you need to forgive like you want God to forgive you. And then go with the reverse story and say, my wife cheated on me. Divorce her. Surely there are better women to marry than these. You got a hoe. You could be Pastor Jamal Bryant and sling your big holy whore dick all across your congregation. and you can still be holy, and you can still be a pastor. You can be TD Jakes and get swallowed up. Have you ever been swallowed up? And at Diddy white parties, and still be over a congregation, but be a woman sucking a dick in the pastor's office. Be a woman losing your virginity on the pastor's office floor, and see how quickly you get turned out and Jezebeled. That shit is backwards. That shit is backwards, and it's abusive. So yeah, Nell, we're looking upside your head. We're looking upside your bundles. This is audacity. You got nerves. And then to do this on TV, Nell, I hope you're embarrassed. You should be. I hope you're embarrassed. Because what you have is a mindset that creates this part of our culture. We brutalize Black women in our culture, the men and the women and the children. What did Tupac said? I fear we'll have a race of babies who hate the ladies. We all know a white girl, excuse me. We all know a Black woman who's been raped, but for some reason, none of us know any rapists. In the words of Carlos King, let's have a real conversation. We all know a gaggle of Black girls who were molested by the time they were 5, but we don't know nobody molesting little kids. We don't know any of the men who are doing the molesting. They don't exist. We're just getting phantom molested, phantom fingered, phantom fucked, phantom everything. Because, well, who did it? We're protecting predators in our community. We are protecting criminals in our community. And it's wrong. It's wrong. That just, Black women, wake up. If you don't love you, nobody else will. If you don't appreciate you, who can? Whatever level you lower yourself to, you can't look at nobody and shake your finger when they treat you like you're on that level. Do you know the whole world is watching us? African Americans are some of the most viewed people on earth. And it's mind-boggling because we're a small group of people. We're a small Negro nation. I'm talking about foundational Black Americans. I'm talking about descendants of of chattel slavery in America. I'm not talking about the Caribbean. I'm not talking about I came here from Africa a generation or two ago. I'm specifically talking about Negro Americans, Beyoncés, and Andre 3000s and Michelle Obamas and Angela Bassett's. I'm talking about good old Negroes from the US of A who've been here for centuries. We're a tiny group of people. There's 40 million of us, and the whole world has our name in their mouth. And they watch us, and they do our dances, and they sing our songs, and they cook our food. They know our hairstyles. The world knows so much about us. And one of the number one things they know about us is how Black men treat us. Got the whole world calling us hoes and baby mamas. You know how many African American wives are shocked, offended, and hurt when people assume they're baby mamas? You know how many African American wives have anxiety about leaving their wedding rings at home? Because should they show up to the supermarket with a kid, people are going to assume there's some valueless, no couth having tramp of a woman who made too many kids. They're going to assume you got multiple baby daddies. And there's not a married African-American woman saying, well, why does it matter? Now, you got some of the angry baby mamas who are just like, well, why does that matter? Well, why does that matter? You know it matters. You know why Letitia does the nanny boo-boo dance with her wedding ring. You know there's status in that. You know there's honor in that. Quit playing and being a wife. And being decent and abiding by societal standards. I think outside of the box, so I'm not calling you to be inside of the box, but I'll be damned if you don't recognize that the box exists. No, you are all the way wrong. I would not want you on any jury of mine. If there is ever a jury where somebody where a Black woman is convicted of anything, you need to go on and say you're compromised and that you're not fit to be on that jury. So many Black women are biased against other Black women, and that's the real reason people can't stand millimeters, because we are not. We are largely a group of women who support other Black women. We are largely a group of women who are pro-Black female in our values. We're not here for the sex shaming and the slut shaming we're not here for that. And that irritates people because we're putting a change, we're curving the culture. We're a solution to a problem that you're a part of now. And nobody has to give you grace or mercy about that. People can choose to, but it's not something you're due, because you're in the clear wrong. Mel is a whole victim of a crime out here, and you're telling her what she should have did. Oh, well, they're both hard-headed, and they're both like this, and they're both, Mel and Martell are like they're the same, and you know they're not. You know Mel's moral fiber leaps and bounds above Martell, but you talk about them like they're co-equals. They wouldn't be divorced if they were co-equals. Your will to coddle criminals is exactly why your sons are repeat offenders. It's exactly why they're cycling in and out and in and out. It's not all their fault. Yes, we as adults at some point have to take the reins of our own lives, and we have to look in the mirror and say, yes, my mom, my dad, my uncle, my aunt, my babysitter, whatever, made a mess out of me, but the broom and mop are now in my hands, and I have to clean this shit up. That's why we recommend therapy. That's why we recommend self-image psychology. That's why we recommend counseling. That's why we recommend psychiatrists. That's why we recommend know thyself. But you are so part of the problem now. You are so part of the problem. And you got nerves calling somebody hard-headed. You called a whole adult hard-headed. That is weird. Because if we want to call adults hard-headed, you know what was hard-headed when you were at the table with your stepdaughter and you were like, shut up, Lexi. That shit sounded hard-headed. And you know what? Nobody called you hard-headed. We said she's at her own table. She's at home. She's the mother of that house. She can talk how she wants to. Nobody belittled you for your outburst, for your issue, for your passion. I know Mel didn't, but here you are trying to check her for hers. Oh, well, I didn't know. Then why are you talking? Well, I didn't know all the details. And why were you talking about Stormy about how you think it's so wrong? It's not wrong to send a guilty person to prison. It's not wrong to send a guilty person to jail. It's not wrong. Even if it is your ex. You know how many people are getting killed by their exes? And their husbands and their current spouses and boyfriends and fiancés? Y'all understand that this is why some people, well, why didn't she leave? There's so much societal pressure to stay. There's so many people waiting to tell you you're wrong. And that there's nowhere to run to. Because these are the friends Mel ran to when she was having a problem. Oh, me and Martell are divorcing and I'm tired of him and his baby mama and he's got a child on the way. And then I'm coming over your house thinking I'm going to have some lemonade in the backyard and you're ambushing her with Martell. Trying to work some shit out. What the hell, Nell? You know her and Slaw were pregnant at the same time? Y'all want to charge Mel up about moving out and getting into her own apartment after consulting 4 different divorce lawyers. Dating the guy when she was all the way separated, but this nigga was double dipping. He had him Sunday in Ariane, Monday in Mel, Tuesday in Ariane, Tuesday also in Mel later on in the same day. Had these women pregnant at the same time. What's wrong with you, Nell? Ghettoize that family. Those kids are so clean and so pure. And he attached to them, forever attached to them. Ariane and her ilk. Their whole psychological setup is being violated. They're somewhere at their dad's house getting bullied by Ariane's daughter. Their own confession. Bullied by this little girl who got a mouth on her because she has a ghetto nothing mom. These kids were growing up in ways that make them suited to be companions of Blue Ivy and Rumi and Sir. And Martell ruined that. And you want mercy for him and not for Mel? Get out of here.